All right, we're back on Morning Line. With us this morning, malpractice attorney Clint Kelly. As we went to the break, Mary was calling, telling about a situation with her daughter that just sounds heartbreaking. What do you think, Clint?
Well, with diabetic patients, I mean, they're known to be high risk for complications such as bed sores and infections, and so you've got to be, as a healthcare provider, vigilant, hyper-vigilant, to make sure that the patient does not develop infections, or if they do develop infections, jump on them quick, because if they can get out of control, they're like campfires that can turn into forest fires overnight. I don't know enough about her daughter's situation to tell you whether there's a case, and I would tell Mary to call my office and ask to speak to Michelle at my office. She does all my malpractice intakes, and tell Michelle, and what's important, when her daughter went to the hospital the first time, when the negligence was suspected, because you know we'll talk about the statute of limitations after this call, and then that information is presented to me, and then I'll make a decision whether I think the case is warranted. The problem with diabetic cases, Nick, is there are some situations that are very hard to prevent even when the standard of care is followed. Right. And the standard of care in these situations is fairly minimal. So unless there's something very obvious in the way that they were failing to take care of her, these cases can be tough. To resolve in favor of the patient, but I need more information to make a decision on this. But my heart pours out to her, because nothing is worse than, 53 is not old.
No, not at all.
I mean, I'm 50.
Yeah.
This is her baby, and to watch something like this happen and to see someone go downhill this quickly is devastating.
Well, and based on what she was saying there, it does sound like she's gone downhill since she went into the hospital. Now, she could have just naturally been ready to get worse, but I mean, she was walking, and now all of a sudden she can't even walk. But as you always tell me, hospitals are sick places, and if you're vulnerable to begin with, when you get in there, there's germs everywhere.
She didn't tell me, but I hazard a guess which hospital it was. I'm not going to say it on air, but I bet I know which one it is. And these things happen. The question is she going to recover? From the way Mary's talking, she probably won't. But then we make a decision in terms of what her damages are going to be and how they could have been prevented. And that's how I have cases investigated. First, it starts with an intake and a phone call, and a phone call's free, just like what Mary did. This is a free call. It's a free call to Michelle at my office. My evaluation is free. It doesn't cost the patient a dime. The patient pays nothing unless I recover something for them.
Standard stuff. And we'll put up the phone number for Clint's office and his location, which is in Hendersonville, at the end of the show. So stick with us, Mary, and we'll get the number up. I recommend you call. There's no harm in that, and you can get more information along those lines. Real quick, she said it was November she went in, and that just gives you a chance to just remind folks about statute of limitations.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about Mary's daughter's situation until I will know, hopefully, when she calls. But it's important for everyone to know you've got 1 year in Tennessee from the date that you discover negligence, from the date that you discover or suspect wrongdoing. You've got to file what we call pre-suit notice within the year, or your claim is barred, and you'll never get your day in court. So you don't want to put it off, wait 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, however long it is, and think, oh, I'll get better, or my family member will get better. If you think there's been a foul-up, a medical error, and you think it's caused some serious problems, pick up the phone and call me or another malpractice.
But I want to clarify, it's not necessarily when you discover I mean, let's say I have my surgery, and 2 years later, I discover that something went wrong in that surgery 2 years later. Can I file a claim then?
You can under certain circumstances. If you did not know, now, if the law says you should have known earlier than 2 years ago, then yes.
I see.
But you can go out even as far as 2 years. You can't go beyond 3.
Okay. I just think in general, though, it's going to be sometime around when you have that procedure done.
You're going to know within.
You're going to know exactly. If you don't know,
because when you're messed up,
it's very rare that it's down the road.
The manifestations of the negligence, the injuries are going to come in within weeks or months.
I got you. Okay, good point. So a year, and that's why it's crucial. Mary, give the call at the end of the show and get some details. Let's go next to Sharon. Good morning, Sharon.
Hi.
Hi.
This is sort of a lengthy thing, but I'm going to try to cut it short.
Okay, great.
Took my husband to the hospital in 2015. He was bleeding for the rectum. They said he was not sick enough. They sent him home. Took him back to the hospital the very next day because he fell backward in the chair. Long story short, he had a surgery the next day for Crohn's. He had a blockage. In May, they did another surgery. He got really sick after that surgery, and put him back in the hospital in June, kept running a real high temperature, and they said he had some sort of infection. They did a 3 or 4 day culture. I don't remember what it was now. Came back, but they misdiagnosed the infection he had. We ended up, I kept taking him back to the hospital. I told him, I said, his urine is just too brown. Oh, there's nothing wrong with his urine. His urine's fine. Took him one time, he fell back and busted his rib. They said he had no broken rib. That was on a Friday. Took him back on Sunday. They said that there was a real doctor there then, and he said, yes, ma'am, says he's got 3 busted ribs in his back. So, and then he still got this infection. We end up in Huntsville Hospital to have a surgery, and that's September of the same year, a different surgery, and ended up having the fever. And I asked the doctor, I said, can you please run a culture on him? I said, I have tried repeatedly to get the hospital at home to run another culture on him.
All right, so Sharon, you got to get to it though now. So what was the result? We get the sense they kept missing stuff. So what happened? What happened?
Okay, they misdiagnosed him. He had a really bad, different type infection that he got from the second surgery, and then they ended up, it ate his heart valves up in the bottom of his heart. But we tried to get somebody to take it. We could not get nobody to take that case.
The malpractice case. Is he passed away, or is he still alive?
No, he's still living, but he's living with bad heart valves yet.
Did she say?
And that was in 2015, and we couldn't get nobody to take the case. And the doctors at the VA, the one that did the sonogram and stuff of his heart, he said, you have got a perfect malpractice suit.
Well, if it was perfect, someone would have taken it. We don't know all the details. Could she possibly have a means to move forward now?
No, not in 2015.
It's just too much time
She's
gone.
already had it reviewed, and presumably this would have occurred some time ago. Maybe she did have a case. She didn't call me, so I can't comment on it in terms of whether it has merit. I'll tell you this, when you are insisting on a test be done and the staff at wherever you are is not doing it, that's when you yank somebody out and take them somewhere else.
Yep. It's that simple. Just go ahead.
It's that simple.
Because
you ask for a discharge. Now, even if they're Medicare and Medicaid patients, you do have the right to insist on either another health care provider or your patient being taken to another institution or facility if you're dissatisfied with the care. And it sure sounds like this guy was, the way she describes it, was mismanaged to some extent.
We have to remind folks that it's possible that you actually have a legitimate complaint, but it wouldn't be taken by an attorney because there may have been a wrong done. It's the damages too. Now I don't know in this case. Sounds like her husband was damaged, but you know, you've had cases where you've told people, look, yeah, you're right, they did something wrong, but it's not something we can sue because there's not much we can really recover.
What I would tell Sharon, my best advice at this point, because the civil justice system now is out of reach. She's barred because of time limitations. But what I would suggest she do is I would go to the Board of Medical Examiners, excuse me, in the Department of Health, and I would file an official complaint involving the care here and make it very clear what happened, so you've got a record. They can investigate it, and you never know, maybe 5 years down the road, for all we know, the department may force that hospital to make changes simply because of what happened to Sharon's loved one.
Yeah, if nothing else, Sharon, you could maybe play a role in making sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Wish you called me.
Yeah. I'm sorry that this happened with your husband. Listen, we'll take a break on that note. Back with more calls. Our final segment with Clint right after this.